Well, tonight in the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Congressional Black Caucus. And the Congressional Black Caucus wants Marcus Garvey pardoned before President Biden get out of office. But before I start that, I hope you had a Merry Christmas and you celebrated with friends and family. I definitely did that for sure. Had a great time. Went to my Aunt Linda's house and, we all had a good time. Very, very, very good time. Funny time, especially my Aunt Linda was talking about how she was roasting somebody. Oh man, it ain't nothing like how we in Black America will roast, right? God, that was funny. That's just natural for us, right? Just comedy. But with the Congressional Black Caucus, I like Marcus Garvey. I like what Marcus Garvey has done, even though Marcus Garvey couldn't get nothing started in Jamaica. He had to come over here, and he was built up and bred over here in the good old United States of America underneath FBAs. But let's go on and look into this article here, because I actually take just a small issue about what the Congressional Black Caucus is requesting. You see a group of 21 House Democrats signed a letter urging the president to exonerate former civil rights leader Marcus Garvey, according to a statement sent by the lawmakers. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke led the panel of lawmakers, mostly from the Congressional Black Caucus, to exonerate Garvey on the heels of President Joe Biden's commutation of 37 sentences from federal death row on Monday. Garvey, one of the earliest internationally known Black civil rights leaders, was convicted of mail fraud in 1923 and was given a 5-year sentence, according to a letter sent to Biden from the Congress members obtained, of course, by ABC. President Calvin Coolidge pardoned Garvey 2 years later into his sentence, okay? So President Coolidge said, hey, I'm going to pardon this man. Garvey was immediately deported to his birth country of Jamaica. Now, exonerating Mr. Garvey would honor his work for the Black community, remove the shadow of unjust conviction, and further this administration's promise to advance racial justice at a time when Black history faced an existential threat of erasure by radical state legislatures. A presidential pardon for Mr. Garvey would correct the historical record and restore legacy of an American hero. Now, they say Congress members have been trying for decades to clear Garvey's name, according to Congress members. Congressman John Conyers led hearings in 1987 for the House Judiciary Committee on Garvey's exoneration. Congressman Charles Rangel introduced resolutions highlighting the alleged injustice against the former civil rights leader in 2004. And they say exactly 101 years ago, Mr. Garvey was convicted of mail fraud in a case that was marred by prosecutorial and governmental misconduct. The Congress member said in the letter, the evidence paints an abundantly clear narrative that the charges against Mr. Garvey were not only fabricated, but also targeted to criminalize, discredit, and silence him as a civil rights leader. Of course, the White House did not immediately comment. Of course, he was born, Marcus Garvey, in Jamaica, 1887. He was a Pan-Africanist, believing that people from African descent around the world should be unified because of their, I don't know why they put alleged common interest. Why would you put that in there? Okay. I mean, that's what he believed. It wasn't nothing alleged about it, ABC News. You mean, just tell the story of how the man thought. Now, Garvey was the leader of the UNIA, which was created to challenge racial inequality. It say, according to lawmakers, the organization champions self-determination, economic independence of Black people at a time when Jim Crow laws oppressed African Americans and colonization subjugated Africans on their own continent. Say Garvey established the Black Star Line. Say one of the first Black-owned shipping companies in the Western Hemisphere, connecting Black businesses across the Americas. As according to lawmakers, say the civil rights leader eventually wanted to route the vessels to Africa for a redemption program. According to U.S. National Archives and Records Administration, he wanted to establish a nation for those who were born into slavery or were descendants of enslaved people. Say Garvey also created the Negro World newspaper. At its peak, reached about 200,000 readers weekly, according to Congress members. Now, they say he shared the segregationist views of the Klan as he sought a separate state for the African diaspora. Now, of course, the media gonna do what they do here, right? So let me get on here and tell you what my thoughts are about some of this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we read through all that for a reason. First and foremost, ABC News, we see Marcus Garvey did not have no thoughts even similar to the Ku Klux Klan. His thoughts wasn't, and you got to think about 1923 when he was convicted. He wasn't thinking about hate. He was thinking about safety. He said, listen, we need to be away from these people, because when we're around these people, bad things happen. So when we get away from them, have our own separate everything over here, then we can kind of just be doing our thing, right? But Marcus Garvey was really a threat, because anytime a black person telling black people to do things on our own, self-determination, anytime they say, do for self, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do for self, anytime that any black person promoting that, and he wanted to do international trade, basically, he wanted to connect black Americans with different African businesses, different African lands, maybe getting access to some of them resources and doing and trading. Of course, he became a threat immediately, because they feel that all those resources in the African continent are theirs. So Marcus Garvey was a complete threat to their rule. So they had to do something to him. That's the bottom line. They've been doing that. Of course, like I said, he went to jail, federal prison. He was pardoned by President Coolidge 2 years into it. He had a pardon, got out, but he was deported back to Jamaica. And we know that he didn't stay in Jamaica long, because in Jamaica, he tried to do the same thing. They wasn't hearing it. They wasn't having it. Marcus Garvey left Jamaica and went to, Britain, right, where he spent the rest of his life. If the Jamaicans were really on that, he wouldn't have to leave Jamaica. But with all that being said about Marcus Garvey, which I definitely appreciate Marcus Garvey, because he's definitely a fruit that came from the tree of FBAs. But for the Congressional Black Caucus to be talking about this, about pardoning Marcus Garvey, there are people right now in prison who are freedom fighters, who's been sitting in prison a long time, who's alive today, that can use a pardon right now, that can be released today. Why won't you fight for those freedom fighters who fought? So you got people that fought in the civil rights movement, people that fought in the early 70s, early in the 80s, fighting, right? Civil rights, fighting for black people that can get out today, advocate for them. Marcus Garvey don't need no pardon. For what? Calvin Coolidge gave him a pardon. That's how he got out of federal prison, right? So they made it right 2 years later, and he got deported, but still, he got out of prison. Why are you fighting for things that can't be a tangible Congressional Black Caucus? Oh, but we got to remember, this is Yvette Clarke. She's the leader now, and we know about her Jamaican background, her Caribbean background. So she's fighting to clear the name of Marcus Garvey based on some Caribbean. I don't know. But the Congressional Black Caucus has always been about symbolism. Okay, let's say Biden does that. How does that benefit black Americans in 2024? It doesn't. If Biden wants to do something that's going to benefit black Americans, well, shoot, the biggest thing he could say right now, everybody has been convicted of any kind of marijuana crimes on a federal level, all y'all going home. Especially if it's nonviolent, it's like just some possession, all y'all going home. Today. Give me all the names. I don't care. Give me all the names. Give me the names. They out. They coming out. You know what I'm saying? Same thing during the crack era. If he want to help somebody, he can say, hey, anybody in prison right now for the crack era for simple possession, not they being a big old, not being a big old dealer, but just possession. It was their personal use, but they got caught up with it and got put in prison. Give me their name. They coming out. And they coming out, and their record's going to be wiped clean. They're going to start over from scratch. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you could be pressing Biden to do, Congressional Black Caucus. Marcus Garvey can't use no pardon, no nothing, no community senate, no nothing, right? He can't use anything. The man's gone. That's why we don't get nowhere as a black community. We don't get nowhere because people like that, the Congressional Black Caucus, Yvette Clarke in the gang, want symbolism and not substance. That's why we don't get nowhere. That's why we don't have anything. Symbolism, that's all they want to push. And then when the white Democrats give us the symbolism, and then we, like us, come to them and say, hey, you ain't doing enough for black people. Yes, I did. I did that for Marcus Garvey over here. What are you talking about? Because the Congressional Black Caucus asked me to do something, and I did it, so I did something for black people. Now you over here telling me I didn't do nothing? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, let's think about it from the white Democrat perspective. If you have the Congressional Black Caucus say, give me symbolism, and they do it because that's what you're asking for, could we really be, did we really think about it? Could we really be hardcore on the white Democrat when they don't want to do other things? Because the Congressional Black Caucus is not even talking about reparations. The Congressional Black Caucus is not talking about as a unified force, an anti-black hate crime bill. But they want the president to right the wrong for Marcus Garvey, and he can't benefit from it. Marcus Garvey's in a better place now. He ain't worrying about this earth with all this evil running around. Marcus is good. We the one is still fighting in this world, not Marcus. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we don't get nowhere as black Americans, because we have people like the Congressional Black Caucus fighting for symbolism and never fighting for substance. And people that fight for substance, they want to look at you as what Fat Joe says, radical black racist. There we go. That's what people look. That's what people when you fighting for substance. That's exactly how they feel about you. You're a radical black racist. So no, That's why I told y'all we have to deal with the Congressional Black Caucus, y'all. You can't just point at the Democrats or the white people in the Democrat Party. You gotta deal with the black leadership class in these political circles. That's the only way we're gonna get somewhere. Because we don't deal with them, how you gonna deal with the Democrats or anybody?